The concept of letting go is often described as a paradox. The more we try to hold on to something, the more it seems to slip through our fingers. In life, this truth becomes apparent in many ways, especially when we become too focused on outcomes. We may chase after success, happiness, or love, yet the more we cling to these desires, the more elusive they seem. Zen and Buddhist philosophies offer profound insights on this subject, teaching that attachment to results can prevent us from achieving what we desire. This attachment creates an internal struggle, blocking the natural flow of life. When we release our grip on expectations and surrender to the present moment, we open ourselves to a world of possibilities we never imagined. By accepting things as they come and letting go of the need to control, we allow space for life to unfold in unexpected and often more rewarding ways. Consider the timeless wisdom of, "He who clutches tightly loses what he seeks." This reflects the idea that peace and success do not come from force, but from letting go. When we trust the flow of life and align ourselves with its natural rhythm, we create the conditions for true freedom. We may not always get what we initially want, but in surrendering, we discover that we are often given what we need for growth. This paradoxical concept of letting go is not about indifference, but about embracing the process without clinging to the outcome. In this way, true freedom and success are found, not in striving, but in surrendering. It's not about giving up, but about trusting the journey and allowing things to evolve naturally. Zen and Buddhist philosophies offer profound insights into the concept of non-attachment, a key teaching that highlights the dangers of clinging to outcomes. This belief is rooted in the understanding that attachment, whether to material possessions, relationships, or even personal goals, can prevent us from experiencing peace and growth. The central tenet of Zen teaching emphasizes that the more tightly we hold on to something, the further it slips away from us. This paradox is evident in everyday life. When we fixate on achieving a specific outcome, we inadvertently create resistance, which hinders our progress. Buddhism teaches that surrendering to the present moment and releasing expectations can lead to a deep sense of peace. When we stop striving for particular results, we align ourselves with the natural flow of life, allowing things to unfold as they should. One of the most powerful ideas in this philosophy is that suffering arises from attachment. It's not that we shouldn't care or work toward our goals, but rather that we should free ourselves from the compulsive need to control the outcome. Consider the Buddhist perspective on suffering. It's not life itself that causes pain, but our attachment to how life should unfold. When we let go of our desire for specific results, we can experience life with greater clarity and freedom. This freedom doesn't come from indifference, but from the understanding that life, in its natural rhythm, will deliver what we need. This allows for a deeper sense of fulfillment, free from the fear of failure or frustration. Zen teachings also offer practical examples of how non-attachment leads to peace. For instance, the story of a monk who struggled with meditation illustrates how constantly striving for peace only made him more restless. It wasn't until he embraced the art of letting go, meditating without expectation, that true peace entered his heart. His experience mirrors the fundamental Zen teaching that peace comes not from force or obsession, but from releasing the need to control. These teachings have helped many individuals find peace in their own lives. By learning to let go of expectations, they've found that their relationships, work, and personal growth have flourished naturally. This is why the practice of non-attachment is seen as a path to true freedom in both Zen and Buddhist traditions. It is not about withdrawing from life, but about engaging with it fully, without attachment to the outcome. Inheritance disputes can strain family relationships and create lasting tensions. To minimize the risk of such conflicts, consider the following strategies. Establish a clear and detailed estate plan. Draft a comprehensive will or trust that specifies asset distribution clearly and unambiguously. Incorporate provisions for contingencies, such as naming alternate beneficiaries, to address potential changes in circumstances. Regularly update these documents to reflect significant life events, such as marriages, births, divorces, or the acquisition of new assets. This ensures that your wishes are always current and helps to prevent misunderstandings or disputes when the time comes. Communicate openly with family members. Open communication about your estate planning decisions can significantly reduce the chances of conflict. Share your plans with your beneficiaries and explain your reasons for those choices. Address any concerns they may have early on, and make sure everyone understands the decision-making process. This transparency fosters trust and helps prevent feelings of resentment or unfairness. Use professional mediation services. Sometimes, despite careful planning and clear communication, family members may still be at odds. In such cases, professional mediation can be an invaluable tool. A neutral third party can help facilitate discussions, clarify misunderstandings, and work toward a solution that is acceptable to all parties. Mediation can prevent the escalation of disputes into lengthy and costly legal battles. Consider the impact of family dynamics. Family relationships can be complex, and the inheritance process may reveal underlying tensions. It's essential to consider the emotional dynamics at play when planning your estate. Recognize that certain family members may have different expectations or emotional attachments to the assets in question. A thoughtful estate plan accounts for these dynamics, potentially reducing the emotional toll that comes with distributing assets. Review and update your plan regularly. Life changes, and so do family situations. People get married, have children, divorce, and sometimes experience financial shifts that require changes to their estate plans. Make it a habit to review and update your estate plan every few years or when a major life event occurs. This not only ensures that your wishes remain current, but also demonstrates your commitment to making sure your family is taken care of after your passing. By following these strategies, you can help ensure that your inheritance is managed smoothly, and your family avoids the emotional and financial strain that often accompanies inheritance disputes. With clear communication, thorough planning, and consideration of family dynamics, you can provide peace of mind for both yourself and your loved ones. The Farmer's Lesson: Trusting the Process. There is a timeless lesson in nature, one that the monk would come to understand after much frustration with his meditation practice. Initially, the monk struggled deeply with his desire to attain peace and enlightenment. His mind was like a storm, constantly clouded with thoughts, anxieties, and the pressure to achieve a state of tranquility. Each day, he meditated longer, focusing intensely on emptying his mind, but the more he tried, the more elusive peace seemed. He would sit for hours in stillness, forcing his breath to slow and his thoughts to quiet, but instead of finding peace, he found himself more restless. His efforts, though sincere, only seemed to reinforce the sense of urgency and the feeling of failure. The monk's frustration reached a peak when one day, sitting by a serene waterfall, he observed the water's effortless flow. Unlike his attempts to control his meditation, the water moved without struggle, flowing naturally toward its destination. It did not fight or resist the terrain. It simply surrendered to the flow of life. This moment was a turning point for him, a quiet realization that the path to enlightenment could not be forced. Just as the water found its way without effort, so too must he allow his mind to relax and trust the process. That afternoon, his master noticed the shift in his demeanor. "Your mind is like a clenched fist," the master said, observing the monk's inner turmoil. "The more you tighten it, the more you waste energy and the less you achieve. Would you like to hear a story that might help you understand the art of letting go?" The monk, desperate for clarity, nodded. His master began to tell a story. There was once a farmer who lived in a land struck by drought. Every day he prayed for rain dug trenches, and lamented his misfortune as his fields remained dry and his crops withered. He worked tirelessly, hoping for a change, but the sky remained cloudless. One day, a wise traveler passed by and saw the farmer's struggle. "Stop chasing the rain," the traveler said. "Instead, tend to the soil, nurture the seeds, and let the sky decide." The farmer was skeptical but decided to follow the advice. He focused on improving the soil, watering the plants, and tending to the earth. Eventually, the rains came, and his crops flourished. The master paused, looking intently at the monk. "When you stop grasping for peace," he continued, "when you stop forcing your mind to settle, the peace will come, just as the rain came to the farmer. Tend to your practice, nurture your thoughts, and let the peace arrive in its own time." This lesson was difficult for the monk to fully grasp. He had spent so much of his life chasing results, striving for an ideal, that the concept of letting go felt foreign. However, he was willing to try. Slowly, he began to meditate not to achieve peace, but simply to be present in the moment. Instead of judging himself for his progress or lack thereof, he began to accept each moment as it came, free from expectation. Over time, subtle changes began to occur. His breath deepened, his thoughts slowed, and he felt a lightness he had never known. He stopped measuring his progress, stopped searching for proof of his enlightenment. He simply sat in stillness, like the water in the stream, flowing effortlessly with life. One day, during his meditation, he felt a profound stillness, a sense of peace that arose naturally, without effort or force. When he shared this experience with his master, the elder monk smiled and said, "You have found the fruit of non-attachment. You stopped caring about the results, and in doing so, you made space for peace to unfold. Remember, the journey matters more than the destination. Surrender to the process, and life will align with its natural rhythm." The monk's realization became clear. The more he chased peace, the further it slipped away. The secret to peace lay not in forcing it, but in trusting the flow of life and allowing things to unfold in their own time. The lesson was simple, yet profound. Peace is not something to be achieved, it is something to be embraced, naturally and effortlessly. Through his struggles and eventual surrender, the monk learned that the true power of letting go is in trusting the process. Just as the farmer had to trust the earth to nurture his crops, the monk had to trust his practice to lead him to enlightenment. The key was to let go of the desire for control, and to trust that everything would unfold as it should. And so, the monk continued his practice with newfound clarity. He no longer sought to force results. Instead, he learned to embrace each step of the journey, knowing that peace would come when the time was right.